Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we are looking at the May-June 2019 Economics Paper 2 for CSEC. We looked at question 1 before, and so now we're going to jump into question 2 naturally. But before we do so, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops question 3, question 4, question 5, question 6, whatever in the future. Alright, so do that for us right now before we start. Good, so with that out of the way, let's start. Define the term production. And so production, you can have a simple definition such as turning inputs into outputs. That's an easy definition for production. Or turning raw materials into a finished product. That's the next definition. But let's see what the textbooks say about production. So production can be defined as the conversion of factors of production into goods and services that consumers wish to consume. Okay, fair enough. Long, kind of winded, but whatever. See, factor inputs, production outputs. Alright, let's see the next definition. Production is the transformation of inputs into useful products or services as it turns land, labor, and capital into useful goods and services that can be sold through markets. Okay, that's the next definition right there for production. So you have about 2-3 definitions to work with. And next one, production involves organizing and combining resources to make and distribute goods and services that will satisfy the needs or wants of other people and organizations. So there we go. That's a more comprehensive definition of production. So if you forget these long-winded things, just mash them up together, make your own, make it simple, something you yourself can remember. Don't try to remember verbatim from the book. So that's that. 2 marks, easy. Then they said, list the rewards for each of the factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, talent, entrepreneurial talent. Well, I keep changing this thing. First it was management, then it was entrepreneurship, then it was enterprise, now it was entrepreneurial talent. Okay, all of them are the same thing. So the textbook has it outlined nicely in this table, so we don't have to look too far for that one. So here we go. Factor of production, rewards. So land, rent is the reward for land. Wages, the reward for labor. Interest, the reward for capital. And profit is the reward for entrepreneurship. Of course, I did a video on this before, so look for that one on the channel so you can understand a little more deeper what we are talking about. So the reward, factor of production, land, rent, labor, wages, capital, interest, and entrepreneurship is profit. So that takes care of the first 2 parts of the question. So that's 6 easy marks just like that. Now we have a next question here. Our next beautiful question. This question is beautiful because it's about application. You have to take what you know and apply it to use the content, the school knowledge, and apply it to the real world. So that's why this is beautiful application. So it says outline 2 advantages of labor efficiency for each of the following. Labor efficiency for each of the following. So let's go. A company. So what are 2 advantages of a company having an efficient workforce? First and foremost, efficiency. We're talking about getting things done in a timely manner with as little loss or as little wastage as possible. So 1, cost savings. An efficient workforce would reduce the cost of production because they would not have any wastage really going on, and they would get things done in a quick and timely manner. So right there, cost is reduced. So an efficient, one advantage of labor efficiency, a reduction in costs. That's 1. 2, of course, increased profitability, because the company now can get things churned out faster, the faster rate, and sometimes at a cheaper than cost than maybe competition out there. So what happens now is that because you have an efficient labor workforce, your company becomes more lean and more efficient, and so profitability rises. That's one key factor that can impact profitability, efficiency. Remember we said that one reason efficiency is good is because there's not much wastage, and then the cost is reduced. So if the cost is reduced, but you're producing at a higher output or at the same level as you used to before, but reduced cost, of course that means profitability is up. So your profits are going to increase as a company because of efficiency. Next one is that it's going to be more competitive. Now your firm, your company will be more competitive if they have an efficient workforce. They can compete on price or on time with other companies out there because they are efficient and the cost is reduced so they can compete more effectively with other entities out there. So right there, more competitive is the next reason why it would be is advantage of being efficient. Another advantage of an efficient labor force is that you're going to utilize the resources in a much better manner. I mean, the very word efficiency, it means that you're not wasting anything. You're using everything, what they're needed for, to produce the goods. And so you are going to utilize or fully optimize your resources. Nobody's going to be wasting a lot of resources out there. So you don't have to, you don't look at the cutting flow and see a lot of wastage material. No. Every scrap is being used efficiently. Every scrap is being used for what they're supposed to be used for, to help you to make some money. So right there you have about 4 advantages of use of an efficient labor force. We don't have to go on anymore because that's 4, you only ask for 2. Okay? Now that's the company. Now the country. The country now. What happens if a country has an efficient workforce? Now for one, GDP. If your entire country has an efficient workforce, then output would rise. So your GDP, your overall output, would rise as a country. And so your monetary value of your goods will increase as a country. And so the country will be able to make more money, GDP increasing, more money can be made in the country. And as such, that can lead to what? Higher standard of living. I mean, a greater quality of life because you have money to spend on health and things like that and stuff like that because your workforce is more efficient. And so an efficient workforce can lead to all those benefits on a country level. So right there, outline a whole lot of things in just that one sentence gone there. So let's break it down then. So a country, output increasing, meaning GDP goes up because you're producing more with less or with the same amount. Employment goes up because you're producing more, you can now export abroad, you can enhance your market because you're more competitive, because you're efficient, and so you hire more people, and so employment would increase in the country. And like I said, because GDP 3, the income, the per capita income, the general standard of living in the country would go up because, again, the country is producing more, being more efficient, selling more abroad, selling more products, and they're making more money. And as such, the standard of living, your income can go up. The quality of life can improve in a country. You can have overall economic progress. Because if your country is making more money, it's very efficient, then that money can be can be used to supplement education, health, all those kind of things, reduce national debt, and as such, the country is going to be better off for it. So standard of living would go up, quality of life would go up, employment would go up, employment rates would go up, output would go up, all those things would go up because your country has a very efficient workforce. And just like the company on a micro level, where the company is more competitive, on a macro level, the country now becomes more competitive with foreigners, foreign countries, more competitive, and as such, they can produce higher quality goods for lower costs, and so they might become the hub for that particular good because nobody else can produce it at that efficient of a rate at that low opportunity cost, and so your country become would obtain a comparative advantage in producing certain goods because it has a more efficient workforce than other countries close to it. All right, so all those are benefits to get. You see, an efficient labor force can really lead to a lot, a lot in the overall economy. So that's that. So like I said, application question. So you outline any of those 4. Well, I listed more than 4, but you outline any 2 of those, and you get your solid 4 marks for that one. You can't go wrong with this one. Okay, the last question. Yes, the last question. No, again, lovely question. Apply what you know. A new computer firm analyzed its cost function for the past 12 months. The firm pays $1,000 every month for rent and an annual fee of $1,500 for insurance. Although the cost of raw materials changed constantly, the firm was surprised at the total amount of $300 to be paid to suppliers given its output for the year. Finally, for each additional worker that the firm employed, it incurred the following costs. So, $2, $2.25, $2.50, to 75, $3 to produce each additional unit of output. From the data given for the computer firm, calculate each of the following: fixed cost, total cost, marginal cost. All right, fair enough. Good. So what is fixed cost? Fixed cost is that cost associated with the assets that do not change with production. So it doesn't matter how much of a unit you produce, the cost does not change. Whether you produce 1 or 2 or 0, the cost does not change. And things like rent and insurance are considered fixed costs, because no matter how much you produce, you still have to pay your rent every month. No matter how much you produce, you have to pay your insurance still. So we highlight this fixed cost right here. So that's rent and insurance. And remember, this is a 12-month period. So the fixed cost, the monthly, the firm pay $1,000 in rent monthly. So you times that by 12 and you get $12,000 for the year in rent. And then they had an annual fee of $1,500 for insurance, as I highlighted here. And so you add that, so you add both of them and you get $13,500. So that's your $12,000 plus your $1,500 gives you your $13,500. That's your fixed cost. Okay, so that's your fixed cost right there. You take your fixed assets and you add them together. That's rent and insurance. And you times the rent by 12 because it's a year. And so you get $13,500. Then we're coming on to the total cost. And total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. And we already calculated our fixed cost up here. Now, what is our variable cost? Our variable costs are those costs that change based on the level of production. And so they have it right here. Although the cost of raw materials change constantly, see, it changes during production, the firm was surprised at a total of $300 to be paid to suppliers for given its output for the year. So for the year, they have to pay $300 in variable costs. And so we have our fixed plus our variable, and that gives us our total cost, and that's $13,800 right there. All right, so that's your total cost. And so you have it right here, the equation right here, change in total cost over change in quantity, and that's your marginal cost. And so the change in total cost, so it was $2, then it moved to 25. So the change would be 25, because the 25 divided by 1, because it's a difference in 1 unit, just 1 unit. The cost is a movement to 1 unit, so it's 1. So you divide that by 25 and you get, of course, 25. So the marginal cost is 25 cents. And you can see the pattern emerging right there. Right, you can see the pattern. So they move from here, the change from here to there is 25, put it there. Change from here to there, same 25, put it there. Change from here to there, the same 25, put it there. Change from here to there, the same 25. Remember, you divide it by 1, but they don't divide it by the change in quantity, but it's just by 1. So you get the 25 still. All right, so that's it for that question. So that's it for the May-June 2019 CSEC Economics Paper 2 question. You know what to do again. Like, subscribe, share, so you know when Learn SKN drops the next part of this paper. All right, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for